Good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital Nightly Strategy Podcast for September 7th, 2023. Got a couple days to catch up on with the hybrid swing, so we'll just jump right into it. So this is all in 30 minutes. Alcoa, we initiated the drop and flop, I guess, and cashed it at the edge of the dragon for about +2. That after that little recovery, you'll notice that it rolled up, and then there was another move available during the day, and it closed pretty weakly. So I'm ready for this thing to collapse more tomorrow, but I was happy to get just that first initial move to the dragon exit in the usual way. I needed to make some money today because the AI position, I was so close to getting out of this thing like I'm supposed to because it's gappy, and I didn't. And 1, 2, 3, -4R on the gap and drop. There was actually, after the sell-off, there was an intraday move available, but I wanted nothing to do with it, as I just felt emotionally bruised from that one. Amazon initiated a SSC after strong support at the usual support level. Standard risk. That's +2 and closed very well. So the tech names actually did pretty good today. Next is Caterpillar. No trade. Cliff was a big win today. So yesterday we initiated the collapsing dragon, and it closed poorly, so we held it overnight. In this case, the gap worked in our favor. I added a second position here, and then took the dragon exit for 1, 2, +4 on the first position and +1 on the second position, so a total of 5R and no overnight risk. CVS, we covered the short for half an hour. It then collapsed, but I had other things going on, span of control, so we took the half hour. Happy. No trade in Dish. Devon Energy initiated a collapsing dragon, and that's holding +3 and continuing for tomorrow. EA, no trade. Emerging markets. So yesterday initiated the collapsing dragon in the usual way. It closed, weekly, so we were holding about 3R. It gapped down in our favor about 4R. Added a second position. That one almost scratched, but total about 8R on EEM. And the nice thing is that's this little compression right here is starting to look like potential, like a pinch trade for tomorrow. Ethereum, beauty. 3 days ago initiated the SSC, held for 2 days. Today started to break out, added a second and then a third position, and it closed very well. So that one is holding 4R on the first position, 2R on the second one, 1R on the third position. That's about 7R on 3 positions. I would not be offended if you trimmed, 1/3 or 2/3 and just kept the original position or the original +1, since this is right at a key resistance level. That would have been a sensible play. I'm holding out for a little more. Mexico, yesterday's yesterday we closed that trade on the short. Today we took the continuation breakdown, and it's holding +2, and it closed very, very weakly. Look how that thing has just gotten smashed over the last 5 days. Brazil, even more better. Yesterday initiated the collapsing dragon. It closed weakly, held it, added after the gap, added a second position, and this thing closed all the way down here for 1, 2, 3, 5 on the first position, 2 on the second position, so 7R on 2 positions, and it's looking even further weak as it broke through and made a new 10-day low today. So that one has great potential for tomorrow. Intel, on the other hand, was an emerging dragon entry, and it's holding about +1 and pretty strong. So that's part of the tech recovery for today. IP was just out of this world. So 2 days ago, initiated the Kata 2 short in the usual way, and that thing closed like here yesterday. Yesterday it gapped, or 2 days ago. Yesterday it gapped down, so we added a second and a third position, and it closed here. Today it gapped down and then came back up, so we cashed here, and then immediately started to fail again. So I put one position back on and then cashed the dragon extra for 1. So this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 on the first position, 3 on this one, 1 on this one, +1. So that's about 12R over the last couple days, and it's right in the wheelhouse for a potential break in either direction. This nice tight zero state is ready for a recovery or a further collapse. IP is prime time trading for tomorrow. IYR, on the other hand, yesterday we closed the short. Today, after the gap up, finally got into it here, and then took a dragon exit for +1 and just raising some cash. KRE, this was much like IYR in that the routine short that we had from the other day, which closed here, gapped down yesterday, added a second and a third. We cashed it all yesterday, and then today reinitiated and then took a dragon exit for a half an hour. But this one was massive goodness yesterday. So I was ready for it to collapse further, but it really didn't. So that may be the end of that painful sell-off, and maybe we will see this as a support level. That would be a natural SSC right from here. And all the groundwork has been laid. It's in the Red River. It had all day to fail, and it did not. So that is a maximum pain. That is a range compression. I will be ready for regional banks to recover tomorrow. Mattel, what a rocket sled this thing was. Let me open this up. So this was like all just for today. So it was a gap down and sell-off collapsing dragon, which I took the dragon exit for +1, and then it rolled over, and then the next 30 minutes it did this. So I cashed +4 on that one and then just left it alone. Didn't have the emotional resilience to take the recovery trade because that one was so violent. That one really was a shocker. So Mattel, a one-day gift. McDonald's, yesterday we covered the short after the gap down and for 3. Today it gapped up, so just reverse, went the other way. It didn't really follow through, so I took the dragon exit for a fraction. Merck, same thing, and a 2-day short that was massive yesterday. Today it was the gap up and cashed 1 with the dragon exit after the SSC. Microsoft, no trade. Marijuana, fractional on the emerging dragon, and it didn't really follow through, so I got out of it with a scratch. NVIDIA, no trade, although there was an opportunity in there. Yesterday was a scratch, stop and reverse, and cover for +2. Clean Energy was a 123 entry on an SSC. That was the, I'm sorry, that should have been this one. That also covered the short on the collapsing dragon, and that was the stop and reverse for the SSC for a fraction. Rivian, no trade, although that is setting up for a COTA 2 continuation. That has if it gets above that 10-day high, then all of this early buying pressure is going to be rewarded. So I've got that one on the back burner for tomorrow. SPY was basically sideways chop, as was Treasuries. Tesla, no trade, and U.S. Steel, no trade. All right, we got a ton to cover. Oh, no, I'm sorry, sniper trade of the day. Sorry. All right, so this is Ethereum today on the 3 minutes. Just real quick. This was yesterday's close. Here was the OR3. It broke out of that on the next bar, so took it long, and that's also the OR3 also happened to be the 10-cent MMRB. Second position, Dragon exit for 1, 2, 3, 4. And then a emerging dragon continuation for 1R. So that was a total of about 5R in a routine way and no overnight risk. Happy with that one. ETHE is something you can only trade on the long side because it's a exchange traded note. But it tracks the Ethereum pretty well. Just want a hat tip to Griff, who did a nice job transcribing the other night's coaching eye. We will add this to the downloads in the Foundations course. He went through and basically added the supporting sub-bullets for each of the different elements of the coaching eye that we did on the questions to ask, the things to look at when being an accountability partner or evaluating a proposal for a strategy. So he did a nice job on that. Trade charts to go over today, so we'll get that working. Here's one from Eugene, who shows a nice tip for using the Fibonacci retracement tool. I think that is this in Trading View, I believe. And so he's established different thresholds, in whatever size step you want, and then overlaid it with the fib retracement tool, so it builds you that sort of R ladder, and it allows him to kind of calibrate his moves. A nice dragon exit, and then re-entry, and a consolidation exit for 3.9R on the Forex ETF UUP. This is George working on the 30-minute chart. What I'm going to say on, George, on your, just for slideology or chartology, I would probably cut this off like right here and then slide this whole chunk over a little more so that you have more room to work. If you drag this that way, it'll create some white space in here that lets you do your figuring and estimating and gives you a little more room to work with. on your screen, so it's not quite as compressed. But I do want you to notice how powerful these turning points are. You need to recognize that there was two legs already in, so when that one hits, you're betting on the third leg. When it doesn't happen, you do a great job getting out of there in a hurry. And then same thing on here, just in terms of screen real estate. You could if you cut this off like right about here. That's not new information. That would give you more room to work with. And again, it gives you some space inside here so you can draw lines and projections, and you can make notes to yourself. And then you can set like price levels and targets, and then you can see it moving in there in time. It just gives you more real estate to work with. Jose, perfect SSC, perfect exit for 2.5 R. Same thing, you got 1 R in Tesla by waiting for the PSAR flip. All that's looking good. This is in Disney. I love this one. This one might have been a candidate for a trailing stop, except it was getting close to the afternoon. So taking 1.5 R out of that is nice. Same with Las Vegas Sands. I just feel like you're hitting your stride and you got a nice routine going on here. We need to start putting together a histogram of your trading results of the last 30 days so we can start taking a look at the batch of your trading results. This would be a candidate in WBD, Warner Brothers, for a continuation trade because it's still early in the day. It just went into the summer and all systems are go. So, but nice trade as drawn up. Same thing with FMC Corp. You got what was there. I mean, what's not to love? Hamad gives us a bunch. His theme of the day, frame trades in both directions, and start with the direction you don't want to. That way you don't fall in love with the trade for sure. He was making money on the OR3s, but missed a lot of the SSCs. So here's your OR3. Did not take the SSC. I'm not going to comment on all of these. This is normal chop. Cat. Nice OR3. There was an SSC available. That Kata 2's not unreasonable. Chevron, I love. If that's a stop and reverse, I would give you great praise. Devon Energy. So one of the things you might look at is this in Devon, the 30-minute has you in that trade all day. And so while you're using this for initial stalking, don't neglect that as an actionable trade signal on a smaller position size, because that was a 3R trade, although you did get paid here in a nice way. There's the reentry and the second reentry. And that's one of the challenges of going back and forth between the time frames. Here's another one where the 30-minute move, if you just follow that, is a great reward, and then it may be easier for you to take this. I'm thinking you got a span of control. You got so many things going on the 30-minute and the 3-minute. It looked like you were emphasizing the 3-minute and neglecting some of the 30 minutes. So see if that's an issue. Nice job here. But again, that 30-minute keeps you in that trade the whole way, and that will actually lower the stress on you over here, because this position size will probably be 1/5 of the size that you might be trading on the 3-minute. All good. Let's shift over to, now these were some of the ones from yesterday, I think. This is Tim. Nice work on both of the shorts, taking the measured shots. Great job on energy on that second reentry on the collapsing dragon. 3.9 on a series in Apple on the tech weakness yesterday. I think this is Hamad crushing it in Alcoa yesterday, and Cliff yesterday, and Boeing yesterday. He could do no wrong. This was yesterday in Intel. Couple quick scratches. So he's large when he's aligned with the market, and he's learning to trim that on the short side. Got what was available here initially. The alarm went off. He didn't take it. So again, there may be span of control issues. Great one on NVIDIA. Really, I think you're crushing it. And then Jose from yesterday, nice SSC on BAC. That's like a trade for all seasons. You can just dial in every day and just trade that without any having to worry about great big strategic visions, to be honest. And then Brian gets what was available on a breakdown out of the Z3 breakout on the Euro Aussie. And 2.5 R on the turning. He's doing better now, catching that turning point in the PSAR flip. I'd like you to look, hey Brian, take a look at making that 0.02 and 0.14. See if that, now you're doing a nice job catching these, but see what that 0.14 looks like for you. I'm enjoying that on my side of the aisle. All right. I just want to note, I'm going to add an hour-long discussion that we had earlier today with the Foundations folks. I had some commentary, draft commentary on my reactions to the announcement of the Van Tharp Institute going to close up shop this year. The last day to order products from them is going to be October 31st. December 15th is the last day for customer service. And then they will formally close the door and release staff on December 31st. They will keep Van's original unique material for sale on Amazon, but will not be selling it in any other place. The materials from the teaching partners like me and Gabriel and Chuck Whitman and Bill Scheit, they will not be selling. They are going to give each of the partners an opportunity to summarize what it is we would offer to the community. I put some initial thoughts together and shared it with the guys in the Foundations. It turned out to be a pretty nice articulation of my view of our learning environment and the teaching model that we use, which is like the nursing model of watch one, do one, teach one, as a way to rapidly build craft skill for each of our systems. So, and then I also spent some time showing how I try to live that, going through my heart surgery and recovery, and how I incorporated the teachings of really important teachers for me in the frame that I used to approach the surgery and the recovery. And so I talk about that process, which I called a living story mosaic, a living story mosaic, or a life story audit. And I'm going to turn that into a paper and a presentation and probably a short story book for some folks that express some interest in the mindsets that I describe in there. I also spent some time talking about the coaching program I've enrolled in to pick up a International Coaching Federation's credential, as well as a systems thinking credential I'm picking up so that I can award a credential from the Waters Center for Systems Thinking as one of their authorized partners, teaching partners. I've been working with them for years, but I thought it was time to start adding that skill to my repertoire. Just trying to live to my own teachings about being a good student as well as trying to be a good teacher. So I'm going to hang that hour-long presentation for you. I think there's a lot of food for thought in there for some deep reflection, and I will turn it into a more structured presentation for folks that may be joining us later from the VTI community. So anyway, that's everything I got for today, and we'll get this published and posted and see you tomorrow.